Hey there guys, Joshua Finn here from J&H Aerospace, out here with a little rubber model to trim. Gonna be interesting because, I don't know if you can see, so we've got direct sunlight there, and you can kind of see the cirrus clouds up there and whatnot. If you notice, it's really hazy. So we got that Sahara dust thing going on, and it makes it look super weird out here. I mean, the visibility is terrible. But kind of cool too. It does mean thermals are not as active, so hopefully we'll get away with this, but could be interesting. Anyway, this is the Supermax II. This is the 5th one of these I've built, so I currently have 2 of them. By the way, if you look, that propeller in the in your screen looks like it turns the wrong way. That's because I'm in selfie mode here, and it mirrors things instead of doing what it's supposed to do. So anyway, that's always fun. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to try to show some of how we trim out one of these. So I've got the airplane set up most of the way, so the rubber motor is in it. It is balanced. Balance is, I got just a little bit of a breeze here. Balancing right ahead of the wing trailing edge. So, so yeah, let me see if I can turn you guys back around. Ah, there we go. So, we're going to give it a test glide. As you can see, it's gliding a little nose down. Not too bad. I have not keyed anything on the wings or what have you. So we're still trying to kind of determine what the basic trim is going to look like with this airplane. And I'm not going to go for a super floaty glide. These don't glide super well. They don't, and that's okay, because the motor run takes care of that. So that actually looks about right. I've got a little bit of a turn going, so I'm going to go ahead and key things on the flying surfaces. We'll show you how to do that, and then we'll start adding a little bit of power to it. Okay, so a couple things before we start cutting on some bits of wood. This airplane, like I said, is built from our laser cut short kit, including all the cross members and everything. Came out at 12.8 grams with a heavily scraped propeller. I don't know if you can see, but I mean, that propeller is almost transparent. Ideally, a carved prop would be a little better, but this is a PEC 8-inch. It'll work very nicely for what we're doing, and since it's the blades are a little floppy, they'll keep the climb from getting super fast, which is actually useful on this plane. 4 strands of 3/32 for power, about 1.5 times the hook to peg distance, so around 30 inches long. Could take more. Maybe I'll do that eventually. But anyway, what we need to do is I've got to lift you guys up here, so I don't want anything to shift as I'm doing this. What I'm going to do is on the underside of my stab here, at the stab edges of the stab platforms, there's more than one, front and back, I'm marking those edges, and then we're going to glue some bits of wood there so the stab can't rotate around and change our turning circle, because it's hard to get a consistent result. By the way, if you notice, my stab mount has a front and back to it at the front, so the rubber band stays in between that. See that? That's called a shocker mount. It was designed, it gets its name from an AMA gas power plane called the Shocker. And the mount is actually more popular than the plane. The plane's a fine airplane from what I've gathered, but the mount was life-changing for a lot of us. And so, hence the Shocker mount for the name for the airplane that kind of introduced it. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a piece of 1/8 by 1/16 strip, and I'm cutting it down to little 1/16 square bits. I don't know how well that's showing up, but what we're going to do is we're just going to glue those at the outside of these marks. And I probably need to go back inside and get some C8 accelerator for this, because I'm probably going to need it. Now, it's okay for your stab to have a little bit of slop on these mounts, or keys, sorry, is what they're officially we call them. because you want it to have enough freedom that you can easily get it on and off. But all I'm doing is gluing these at those marks, and I know you can't see what I'm doing because these are super tiny. But now you can kind of see those little guys right there. So I'm going to glue 2 more at the back. Now I'm gluing them with the grain going this way. Just makes them a little bit stronger. If you glue them with the grain going parallel, I just find I can't keep them attached. They end up breaking because planes get tossed around, especially endurance ships like this. One of the things you got to bear in mind is endurance models you have to be regarded as being semi-disposable. They get beat up and destroyed and all that jazz. They're built very lightly. Especially little embryo endurance ships like these, they get lost. You just kind of have to have a light grasp on them, because their purpose is to be thrown into a thermal, get your max, your 2-minute max, get the plane back on the ground, go get it, stay attached, you stupid thing. You go get it, wind it up, and repeat. And that's kind of brutal on airplanes. Just putting it up there flight after flight like that. You lose a lot of them. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. Mulvey Hill is even worse, because it's basically the same flying strategy on a larger airplane, and you have to make more flights with it. Because with embryo, typically after the 3rd flight, the contest is over unless more than 2 people max out. And then if they do, then the flight times start going progressively up. Whereas embryo, you usually just, you have your 3 flights and it's over. And then you'll fly an unlimited fly off. Mulvey Hill's not like that. They just increase the max. So now what I'm doing is I'm making these same wing keys for the wing. I said that. Whatever. Now my wing does tend to kind of stay put, but I'm still going to mark it. And the reason I'm marking it is that I want to make sure I get this fairly exact. The thing is, the wing can get shifted on launch and whatnot. Let's say you try... Sorry, I'm being dive bombed by a little boy who's flying a battered old race plane of mine that I gave to him as a chuck glider, and he's trying to kill my cute little embryo plane. So that's always fun, you know? Alright, so stab is keyed in place now. So we're going to take the wing off now. You'll notice the wing has a line connecting it back to the fuselage. That's part of my pop-off wing dethermalizer. So fuselage wandering around, attached to it. And we will probably be implementing the dethermalizer fairly quickly here. It's a fuse type rather than a damper, just out of practicality of how light these things are and how much extra complexity and junk is added to a plane when you have a regular timer in there. I may eventually convert over. It depends what the... We'll do some testing. If the plane looks like it can max with the consistently with the extra weight, then we'll put a timer, a damper timer on it. But for now, I'm going to try and avoid that. And so, almost done keying up the wing and jabbering away, trying to keep you guys from getting bored watching me. But now I've got keys on wing, so that it'll stay centered. Okay, so we're going to load our airplane into a stooge here, now that everything is teed up. And we're going to try and start with probably about maybe 100 turns or so. Okay, I lied. That's more like 200, 250. But that's enough to get started. Alright. So we'll take it back to the field and we'll wind it up. Okay, so here we are. We got the plane. My finger, you can't quite see my finger out of frame holding the prop, but we're going to turn her around here, and away it goes. Kind of pulled a little hard there to the right, so may have to deal with that. Yeah. Okay, so we got the plane back here and we saw that it was turning pretty tightly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something a little different from what I normally do, and that's going to be fun to retrieve the rubber motor. Shouldn't be too bad, except that it will be. Oh well. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand the front of the nose block. So we're going to sand out some of the down and right thrusts that we've got in. So I'm just kind of holding this at an angle. I'm trying to sand away a little bit here, because I build in about 3 degrees down and right, and I think that's too much. Well, I know that's too much because of what we saw out there. So that'll neutralize some of that. Scrape away the excess tissue there. Now, to get the rubber motor retrieved, we'll take the wing off. Grab my rubber motor here. Now that it's untensioned, just slide back through the nose. Alright, there we go. Now, a few of you are probably asking, and I want you to remember this is mirror imaged, what you're seeing here, because I'm in selfie mode. So what I did is, this is the top left of the nose. It looks like the top right to you guys. This is the top left, and so what I did is I sanded away at the top like this to angle the prop back up a little bit, and then I also had it off a little this way to bend the propeller back this direction, because it's set to point this direction and that direction, which is why the plane was flying around nose level and in a really tight turn. So what we're going to do is we're going to wind 250 turns in there again, go back and rinse and repeat, see how it flies. Alright, so actually went up about 300 turns, but now flying much, much better. And I launched into really bad air there, so it's not wanting to climb. That looks quite good. So we'll give it a little more power. Alright, so 600 turns out of a possible, I guess, 2,000 plus, maybe 2,500. Oh yeah, that's more like it. Air is very active if you can't tell. Just beautiful flying. Look at that. Nice.
Get it on the description below, and then we're flying.
Please do subscribe below. Yes. Oh yeah. Nice. So a little bit more about this airplane. It is finished in Isaki tissue, which currently is not readily available. I think the white Isaki is available from freeflightsupplies.co.uk. But other than that, it's kind of hard to get. Winded Up Enterprises does have a limited amount. I gave this 2 coats of thinned butyrite dope, which is really more than it needs. 1 coat of very thin butyrite would be more than sufficient, and that added about 1 gram per coat. Bit embarrassed by that, but that's another story. Alright, so 500 turns. We'll stop at 900. That should be enough for an energetic flight. And there we go. Rear peg is trying to slide out. I've got a sleevey peg back there like I've shown in some of the other videos, and that does make that part interesting. Alright, so like we said, 900 turns. Let's see how this goes. Hope I don't regret this. Nope, I regret this. I already regret this. There are vultures downwind of me. I may have just lost this airplane. Crud. Oh, crud. We'll see. Maybe we'll get it back. Hopefully it'll hit some sink and come down. But I should have lit the DT fuse, which you kind of have to install the DT fuse first. Alright, there we go. Dead sticked. Making its way in. Beautiful. Very nice. Oop. Alright, so what we have there sticking out of the wing is English lamp wick. Available from FAIModelSupply.com, Volier products, etc. We have 1,450 turns on the airplane, so it'll climb sprightly. And that's about enough fuse for 90 seconds. Now, ideally, don't do what I'm about to do, which is to attempt to light it with an open fuse flame. Come on, take without hitting my tissue. There we go. So let's see, will it do its job? Lit and burning. Good, good. Alright, here goes. Oh yeah. And we're in lift. Going up. No drift so far. There will be some in a bit. Wow. Straight overhead. That's amazing. And there we go. Thank goodness it works. And bloop. Alright. Let's show you how all this awesome sauce works. And why you should be very careful where you do it. So, I've showed a video where we looked at the mechanics of this, but the bottom line is I have a metal tube there in the wing. Now that fuse is still blazing hot, and I can prove it. I don't know if, yeah, well, nice and red hot. The bottom line is that tube goes all the way to the other side. The fuse will not burn all the way through. So it's going to get starved of its oxygen supply, and it'll go out very, very soon. Now, you don't want to just poke the fuse out here until everything is cooled down, because the CA that is holding that tube in is soft right now, because it's you know, about 1,000 degrees or whatever. I don't know. May not be quite that hot, but it's hot enough. Now, the wood never catches on fire from this. The tissue can catch on fire in small amounts due to a little bit of spray from the fuse. Typically that happens at the point that the rubber band cuts, sprays a little bit of stuff around. But you can see nothing so far. But eventually there will be a few small holes there, nothing major. So, also I should add, we've got a bunch of turns left in the motor. So I mean, the plane was still going up very strongly at the time the fuse popped. But, you know, such as it is, it was going up anyway because it was in lift, which is fantastic. So anyway, that's kind of where we are with that. That's basically trimmed. Could I tweak it a little more? Probably so. The glide stinks. I mean, it really does. I don't know if y'all saw that previous flight, but the glide stinks. Will I fix the glide? Probably not. I may if I get really serious, because I could probably get 4 minutes out of this airplane in dead air if I really put my mind to it. But the bottom line is, you see, it's very stable, very easy, reliable to fly. And now y'all have seen what a pop-off wing fuse dethermalizer does on video. Now, I should mention what I was saying. Don't use an open flame with this, because you can catch the tissue on fire. And I've seen that happen, and the whole plane just goes kind of poof, and then no more airplane. Is a little bit of a fire hazard, but not too bad. The bottom line is, it's mainly you're going to lose the plane. Now, there are some places where this is an issue. So if there's a lot of dry grass around, don't be doing this. Here in the South, I've never heard of it ever being a problem. And we've got thousands, tens of thousands of people, not flights, of people who have flown in the South with fuse timers over the past century, and I've not heard of any issues with that. Now, out west, there have been instances in recent years. So if you're in the Great Plains in the dry season, if you're in California, someplace like that, look, you can't be using fuse timers. You can't. I know the crew out in Colorado are just fine with them, and they don't have any problems, and they're on government land and have never had an issue. So it's just certain areas you've got to watch out. So that's my take on that. Could I get similarly long flights with a modern timer system on this plane? Absolutely. Trying to keep it nice and light for just be the ultimate competitive machine for calm conditions. These are not necessarily great in windy weather, although they do fly. I mean, you can win with it in windy weather. It's just a little harder to fly it, a little harder to handle. It's a little bit of a fragile airplane because you have to use pretty light balsa to get it down to weight. But I mean, those uprights are 1/16 by 1/32, so they're kind of fragile too. But anyway, the bottom line is, you've gotten to watch me trim a little endurance ship here and seen some of the flight prep and whatnot that we do with it. So if you like what you saw, subscribe for more. Questions, comments down in the comments section below. Give us a thumbs up, all that jazz. Kit is available on our website, as you've seen. Now, it's a short kit, so you have to supply all your longerons, the strip wood and whatnot. You have to supply the hardware, wire, tissue covering, propeller, etc. But all the sheet balsa parts, including the cross pieces and uprights, all of that is laser cut in the kit. So it's a pretty complete kit. And as you've seen, it flies well. I've never seen one of these not fly well. It's just a nice flying airplane. Easy to trim. And you've seen some of my thoughts on how to trim it. So anyway, we'll see you later. Closing thought there, I should show that you can flip the wing over here. Maybe this is going to take 2 hands, I don't know. maybe we can make this work. But you can push the old spent fuse out, or maybe pull it out. Come on. There we go. So that's the spent fuse. You just throw that away, cut another length of it and put it in there, and off you go. Hi, I'm Josh Finn. This is Hope. We are J&H Aerospace.
If you like this video, hit the like button.
Also, how about subscribe to our channel and check out jhaerospace.com for new free flight products and all of the tooling that you'll need to build them.
Thanks for watching.